We know that there will not be opening statements, that there will be a couple of commercials. There's no live audience like the first debate. Again, you have to remind yourself there was a first presidential debate, and that President Trump just did too well and delivered the death blow to Joe Biden's presidential campaign and reelection campaign. The microphones will remain muted when a candidate isn't speaking, so it's your turn not to talk, since we were talking about. The two candidates will have under 2 minutes to deliver closing statements. President Trump will go last. That was done by a coin flip. It was not because he's a former president or something like that. So that was just done by coin flip. So there's the kind of basic setup. It's ABC News. It's David Muir and someone from ABC News. What's her name again?
Her name is Lindsay Davis from ABC Live Prime.
Live Prime. So again, a lot of people know David Muir. I don't know if they know Lindsay Davis. But remember, sometimes the host can become the focus of these debate as well, the debate host, depending on how they ask the questions and how they kind of treat the candidates on stage. So there's a lot of pressure on them.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Harris never really recovered from that.
No.
Now, she ultimately you get picked as VP. That's a different calculation. How you did the debate is not usually how they calculate that. Joe Biden, he needed someone different, young, effective as a VP candidate. She has not, interestingly enough, thrived as a vice president. I mean, let's just say she is not. It's kind of like she stumbled into this. It feels like it.
When you look at that type of bite where she is presented with her record, that's where she doesn't perform well. But she has very good time on the debate stage when she can rehearse, and that's why you see exactly, because she was a prosecutor, and many times as a prosecutor you have a very well rehearsed presentation in front of a jury because you are trying to convince them that your standard of evidence meets that bar of beyond a reasonable doubt. So you have to think, you've heard about them like camping out in this hotel preparing. You've had Philippe Rines, who's a name that I never thought I'd have to hear again after the Clintons were done, but he has been dressing up as Trump. You have to imagine that, ABC is showing the studio now how they've been moving furniture around to try to make it look exactly right for her so that she can present exactly as it's going to be. But when she has a rehearsed line, this is what was kind of dangerous from Kamala Harris, because this actually really damaged Joe Biden very early on.
Got on the Biden VP list is that she was not a very good presidential candidate yet because she wasn't good at taking the incoming, but she was good at delivering shots. And that's kind of what you want your vice president to be. They don't have to be the most dynamic person in the world, but if they can deliver kill shots for you, politically speaking, that can be a very effective person. Now, when she actually got into office, she has not lived up to that example about what you're going to see right now.
And I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me. So I will tell you that on this subject, it cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. We have to act swiftly. As Attorney General of California, I was very proud to put in place a requirement that all my special agents would wear body cameras and keep those cameras on.
Senator Harris, thank you. Vice President Biden, you have been invoked. We are going to give you a chance to respond.
It does show that when she can kind of focus in on one person, she gets to do that tonight, Will. You can deliver lines that you better be ready with a response better than what Joe Biden had there. He got away with it there because he was still the strongest candidate at that point, and she had already had she was kind of an upstart from the beginning. She ended up being the VP nominee, so they saw, wow, this person can be tough. They can deliver some tough info. Where has that Harris been the last 4 years, and does she show up tonight? Because if she shows up like that tonight, this is a different race.
The head snap by Joe Biden when she delivered that line of "and that little girl was me," it was a very profound moment in politics. If you look at this from a debate performance, her being able to get that visible reaction from the other candidate, who was the leading candidate and ended up being the president, was a very powerful moment. It was obviously delivered to a Democrat base. It was a primary. But if you can elicit that kind of response out of another candidate, that's scoring points on the debate stage. And if she's able to deliver something like that, and there's a visible response by Donald Trump in that manner that catches you off guard and you understand that, it could be a kind of a trap moment.
The stakes are high with this debate because it may be the only time that voters get to see Donald Trump and Kamala Harris side by side. Now, it's important to point out that, and President Trump said the other day at a rally, he said, hey, even if I do great at this debate, the mainstream propaganda media is going to say that he was a disaster. And Kamala Harris had the debate performance of her life. So, the outcome is somewhat rigged. But really what Kamala Harris is planning for, and she should not be underestimated, she's gone in and done a lot of preparation for this. According to her own team, she will put out a performance where she will present to voters what she wants them to see. What we as voters and viewers need to remember as she is delivering an acting performance is that it is just that. She is trying to create this vision for us of something that's not true and is actually diametrically opposed to her radical, extreme record and the positions that she has, what she really believes, and frankly, what she will actually do.
She's in a mock TV studio with a mock Donald Trump that she's been debating against, and a lot of prepared lines. So you're going to see a Harris who is, again, much of what she is going to say is going to be already something that she has memorized and prepared to say on various issues, where you say, okay, if you get asked this question, you're going to talk about this. You get asked this. And listen, this is what I said. She's a seasoned politician. With that kind of prep time, don't write her off as the Harris that you see in these kind of goofy live moments that don't have that kind of prep time.